Welcome to the district. I'm your Fulton County Commissioner of District 4, Vice Chair Natalie Hall. Today, we are highlighting Black Push Incorporated, a nonprofit organization that focuses on social injustice, voter suppression, and ex-offender rehabilitation. Black Push Incorporated was founded in September of 2016 with the mission of helping ex-offenders transition back into their communities. In previous years, Black Push helped over 100 program participants start fresh with job security and aiding in restoring their social rights. Black Push has expanded to speaking against social injustices and ensuring individuals understand their rights while advocating for equality and expansion of voting rights. Joining me today is founder, president, and CEO of Black Push Incorporated, Shaun Smith. Shaun is a native of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and serves as the associate pastor at Created Light Ministries in Dallas, Georgia. Shaun has dedicated his life to making an impact in the lives of everyone he comes in contact with. We have a great show planned. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the district. We have a great show planned for you today. I'm your Fulton County Commissioner of District 4, Vice Chair Natalie Hall. Joining us today is founder, president, and CEO of Black Push Incorporated, Shaun Smith. Shaun, welcome to the district.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
So tell us, what is the meaning behind the name of your nonprofit organization, Black Push Incorporated?
So Black Push, the idea of Black Push came around actually almost 10 years ago. I just really went back to a message that I had gotten from a friend of mine. And we were talking about at the time, social injustice, things that was going on in our community from where I'm from in Fort Lauderdale. She was like, yeah, we should name it Black Push. And literally in 2016, I thought I came up with the name. I guess I did not. And so, yeah, it was founded literally off the principle of just helping people and social injustice issues that was going on way back over 10 years ago, literally.
Wow. So what are some of the resources that Black Push offers ex-offenders?
So we have a really extensive program. We've actually partnered with a ministry down in South Fulton, where we actually have a home for men who are previously incarcerated. They can come through and be rehabilitated over the course of 6 months. We have a website that is extensive. We have a whole bunch of resources on our website with, as far as job assistance, as far as rental assistance, as far as housing assistance. We assist them with getting their rights restored if they come through us. We can assist them with that. If people who are currently going through the court system and need help or need guidance, we have attorneys that we work with, that we partner with, that are here to help them as well. So we play a huge connection. And we do deal with DAs and different police departments as well. So we build a relationship to kind of be able to bridge the gap and help them not see ex-offenders one way and help ex-offenders not see them one way. So we've been working tirelessly to try to make that connection for them.
Those are awesome services, from jobs to housing and so much more. Those are exactly the services that ex-offenders need. But does Black Push only focus on ex-offenders? I know that you also focus on social injustice issues concerning African Americans and ex-offenders, but is that your only focus?
No, so I mean, for me, social injustice it's not only affecting the African American community, right? Social injustice can affect the white American community, the Hispanic American community, and we've seen in Georgia, even our Asian brothers and sisters. So wherever there's injustice, Black Push is there. We were at a protest recently, about a month and a half ago, with the Southern Leadership Conference in Cobb County, protesting, saying our Asian brothers and sisters, we need to stand up for them. So anywhere there's social injustice, Black Push is there. We don't just focus on African American issues, we focus on all issues. Anywhere where we can make the system better, that's what we focus on.
Excellent. And why do you think the nation is resisting to accept that inequality still exists in this day and age?
So I think the nation has, and I was, believe it or not, literally, I was just in Gwinnett County. We met with a group of pastors, as well as like the DA's office came out, the Gwinnett Police Department came out, and we had a really serious conversation. This actually came up in our conversation today. And one of the things I think that America has not had what I call the mirror effect. America doesn't want to look in the mirror. We don't want to recognize our evils, and we think that we're the pinnacle point, we're on the top of the mountain, and we can do no wrong, right? As a country, I think that we have to have this mirror effect. And I quoted Michael Jackson earlier today. And Michael Jackson said in his song, "The Man in the Mirror," he said, if you want to make a change, look at the man in the mirror, and that's where the change starts, right? I think that people are blinded. I think that people are blinded by the fact that we do have these injustices in our society, and they just choose to not want to deal with it because it's such a hard conversation. And sometimes hard conversations are not things we want to deal with. And I use this as an example. Somebody once asked me, why do I feel like Jesus was crucified? And I said that every single time you come in contact with Jesus, he makes you look at yourself. And that's the thing. We don't want to look at ourselves. We don't want to see our own issues.
This is so true. We must take a look in the mirror and evaluate ourselves before we evaluate anything else.
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
And so, speaking of inequality and the trials and tribulations of America, can you explain the effects of the most recent voting bills passed in Georgia and the progression of these bills being passed in various parts of the United States? Because I'm sure you see the impact in the area that you work in.
Oh, absolutely. One of the things that people are really upset about, we're reading like limiting the amount, like the hours that we have voting, right? Giving counties the option, quote unquote, of being open from 9 to 5. When most Americans work from 9 to 5. Not being able to give people water or food in line is absolutely egregious. I mean, that you could be charged with a crime for giving someone a bottle of water. Limiting the amount of ballot boxes we have. One of the things that I found that was interesting in the last election is that when the presidential election, I stay in Cobb County, and right by my house, there was an early voting site. It was always packed. And then when the senator election came up, they literally closed that spot down, and there was not even an option for us to vote at, which made no sense, knowing that it was going to be a high turnout. I don't think this bill does anything to protect the vote. I don't think there was an issue with the vote. If you look at voter fraud in the state of Georgia, it's not very high. I think this is just a way of people playing politics. The politics are stepping away. And what this bill has done is not made it easier for people to vote nor protect the vote. This bill has made it harder for people to vote, and it's discouraging people from going out and voting. And I think this bill is egregious. I was actually just in Dallas about last Friday. I met with a group of nonprofits on Saturday. And I mean, even your young people who are getting ready to start voting, they don't even agree with some of these things they're doing in these bills. I mean, in Florida, from Florida has tried to, replicate Georgia and pass some of the same bills. And it's getting worse. If you look at, Georgia bill, we know it's rough, but because of voices and people going out and arguing against it, they pulled back on a lot of things they were trying to do. But in Florida, they went ahead and they went another level up. But then we see Texas, they went 2 levels up. And other states are planning on going like higher because they see that we got away with it in Georgia. Why not do more, right? The bill does not do anything to protect the vote. It discourages people from voting, and it limits our ability to vote. So it's something that we have to hope that we get it right here, the courts get it right, or that we get it right in the U.S. House and Senate. And we'll be talking about that tomorrow with Senator Warnock's team when he comes over.
Thank you so much, Shaun. Let's take a break, and when we return, we'll continue our discussion on Black Push Incorporated and its impact in the community. Welcome back to the district. I'm your Fulton County Commissioner of District 4, Vice Chair Natalie Hall. If you're just joining us, founder, president, and CEO of Black Push Incorporated, Shaun Smith, has been sharing information on his nonprofit organization and the current state of the nation regarding social injustice and inequality. Shaun, what is internalized racism, and what do you say to those who are not aware of internalized racism?
So again, great question. Internalized racism for me is that when we have built a system that doesn't recognize that it's racist. For example, we look at African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, when they go into courtrooms, sometimes they have the same charges as someone who may be white. The reality is, no matter how we like it, well, my grandma used to always say, no matter how we slice it or dice it, reality is that if African American steps in the same room as a white American, they're probably going to get charged twice as long, or the charge is going to be harder, or the conditions are going to be harder than a white American. That's internalized racism. One of the things that I mentioned earlier today when I was in Gwinnett is that a lot of times when people are racist, they don't even recognize they're racist. And once again, like I remember I had an employer one time, And they literally told me like, there's no way I can be racist. I hired a whole bunch of Black people, including you, right? But he asked me a question: if there was 10 white people in the room and 5 Black men in the room, and one of them was accused of stealing, who would you most likely point to? And if my math is right, there's 10 white people in the room, right? 1 to 10 white people. He said, Shaun, be real. So once again, that's people not understanding what racism is and not understanding their own part they play in racism. And that gets replicated, right? It gets replicated in the courtroom. It gets replicated in schools. Literally, this is a situation that kind of tore me up. I just called my godson's mother to check up on him yesterday, and he had just got a BB gun. And he got his BB gun. He decided to sneak it off to school. He's 8 years old. And the police officer told him, as part of disciplining him, he told him that if he was 50 feet away and he would have seen that, if he couldn't recognize it, he would have given him permission to shoot him. What do you say to an 8-year-old African-American child? Definitely in this day. And you have to ask the question, if that was a white child, would it have been handled the same way? And that's what we mean by internalized racism. It's embedded in our systems. It's embedded in our political system. It's embedded in our judicial system. And we have an obligation as a country to root it out, go to the root of it and get it out of our system.
Well, with that being said, what obstacles do you feel need to be repaired? And what's Black Push doing to progress towards these changes?
So Black Push, this is something I'm really excited about. We are working on something called the Fair Justice Act. We partner with a whole bunch of different organizations. We're reaching out to police fraternities around the state of Georgia. We're reaching out to DA's offices. We're reaching out to judges. We're reaching out to elected officials, the state house and Senate. We are proposing reforming our justice system from the top to the bottom, doing bias training for every officer and every DA's office and every judge, right? Making sure that we don't have people in office who have bias in them, right? We are working to reform the grand jury processes. We learned through Breonna Taylor, like the grand jury process doesn't make people feel comfortable. I mean, in all reality, it's something that's done behind closed doors and people come out and make statements and say what happened. And then we find out later on that that's not even what happened. And then too, in the state of Georgia, really interesting, if the only time a person is able to be represented in the grand jury is if it's a police officer involved in incident, they can have representation there. What makes them so different from the average person? So we're working on the Fair Justice Act. We just need to, instead of, I use the example of when you take your car to go get repaired, right? You take your car to go get repaired and somebody tell you need a whole new engine, but yet you'd be like, hold on 1 second. What can we do to get me for another year or two? And we keep replacing parts, but the reality is that the whole engine needs to be replaced. The whole system needs to be reformed. And I was telling somebody today, just because we put a Black face in office doesn't mean that Black face represents the majority or represent the community, right? We got to make sure we put the right people in office. So we're motivating people to get out and vote. And despite the new rules, let's show them that what they've done doesn't impact us getting out the vote. Georgia, I mean, and the thing that excites me about Georgia is that big things. In this last election, Georgia really made the difference, right? Let's make a difference by just showing people that, you know what, despite what they do, we're going to still get out and vote. They're not going to shut us down. They're not going to shut us up. So those are the things that we're working on right now with the Fair Justice Act. We're working on building bridges between the community and the spiritual community. That's the reason why we're in Gwinnett today. We're doing it across the whole state. We're going out and talking to people who literally don't agree with me politically. I'm going out and farming with them. I'm going out and talking to them. I want to make a whole documentary to help them understand where I come from and help me understand where they come from. So we're reaching out to the community and we're doing it in big ways.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Shaun. Let's take a quick break and we'll return shortly. Welcome back to the district. If you're just joining us, I'm your Fulton County Commissioner of District 4, Vice Chair Natalie Hall, here with founder, president, and CEO of Black Push Incorporated, Shaun Smith. Shaun, is Black Push currently doing anything that focuses on youth?
We are. So one of the things that we've been working on tirelessly throughout the state is that we are partnering with the police department. One of the things I really want to change is the perception that youth have about the police. We're partnering with them. We're setting up different games where the kids can play against the police or play on the police team. We are working with we're reaching out to different YMCAs to go in and talk to the kids about different career opportunities they may have. So we have a lot going on with the youth right now. We're actually getting ready, hopefully within the next couple of months, to start a mentorship program through our organization where they'll be able to come in and kind of see what we do and be a part of.
Outstanding. And what other social justice issues can Black Push take on in the future?
So one of the things I'm looking at is I'm really become huge about mental health. Mental health has been one of my next pet projects. We've actually just brought in someone who works for the Georgia DPHDD. And I think you're probably familiar with him, Stephen George. He works for us part-time as well. So we are attacking mental health because we can't talk about criminal justice reform if we don't deal with mental health at the same time.
That is absolutely true. So, what do you see as the biggest threat to our democracy right now?
Biggest threat to our democracy, I would have to say, is blind racism. Is when we go back to the question earlier there about what's internalized racism. When people who are racist, and when I use the term racist, people always get bent out of shape because they think I'm talking about a white person not liking a Black person. Racism is across the board, right? There's Black people racist against white people, Asian people racist against Black people, but us not recognizing it and not wanting to deal with it. I think that that's a huge danger in our democracy. And the second thing is limiting people's right to vote. That's huge in our democracy. Martin Luther King was very passionate about the fact that if you want to give us a voice, give us a vote. And he understood the purpose of us having a vote. And I think it's important that we understand that it's not just presidential elections. I try to tell every youth I talk to, they need to vote in every election, okay? 2021, we have elections going on right now, right? We have elections going on in 2022. Get out and vote, because the people who you vote for on a local level make more of an impact on your life than you think.
This is true. And so, what is next for Black Push?
So next for Black Push is we're going to keep on grinding. We're going to keep on working on the Fair Justice Act. We're going to keep on building partnerships across the state. We're going to keep on bringing people together across the state, different police officers and DA's offices and judge offices, and we want to bring them to the community and bring the community to them. I think that's imperative because that for me, that link has been broken and the trust has been broken. And we want to restore that trust on both sides. I mean, we are very unbiased here. We don't just run with everything that shows up on TV. We want to bring that connection. We want to make friendships on both sides. So that's what we're working on tirelessly throughout the next year, and to make sure that everybody can basically have the fundamental right to be who they are and have a second chance in society. That's extremely important.
Well, what jumped out at me about what you said are the words connectivity, togetherness, and those are the main things that we all need. We need to work together to improve everyone's lives.
Yes, ma'am.
So, how can other people and organizations connect with your nonprofit?
We are easy to find. You go to our website at www.blackpush, that's BLACKPUSH.org. All the information about how to contact us is there. You can find us on Facebook. A lot of people find us on Facebook. We have a page on Facebook. It's just Black Push. And you can reach out to our office here, and our office phone number is 770-690-4215. And we're more than happy to help in any kind of way possible.
All right, Shaun. Well, thank you for providing us with this great information about Black Push and all the wonderful things that you do to restore people's lives, ex-offenders and youth, and so many others. I appreciate what you do, and thank you for coming on this show.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm so eternally grateful.
All right, and we will take a quick break. Welcome back to the district. I'm your Fulton County Commissioner of District 4, Vice Chair Natalie Hall. Today, we discuss Black Push Incorporated, a nonprofit organization that focuses on social injustice, voter suppression, and ex-offender rehabilitation. It was a pleasure to have Shaun with us today to discuss his thoughts on some diverse issues occurring in our nation, such as the recent voting bills that have been passed in Georgia and are making way around the country as we speak. Unfortunately, in 2021, we're still experiencing and witnessing injustice. The late Congressman John Lewis stated, "Every generation leaves behind a legacy. What that legacy will be is determined by the people of that generation." What legacy do you want to leave behind? Black Push Incorporated is advocating to leave behind a legacy that advocates for equality and building a community rooted in passion, purpose, and collaboration. I look forward to collaborating with Black Push Incorporated in the near future. You may contact Black Push Incorporated at 770-690-4215 or visit their website at blackpush.org. That's our show for today. I'm your Fulton County Commissioner of District 4, Vice Chair Natalie Hall, and thank you for watching the district. Please stay updated on the county's response to COVID-19 via the county's website at fultoncountyga.gov. You can also follow me at FulCoD4, that's FULCOD and the number 4 on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And although we are seeing a decline in the number of new COVID-19 cases and deaths, we still need to remember that while in public, wear a mask, wash your hands, and stay 6 feet apart. Until next time, stay safe.